Great. So, if at first you don't succeed, try and try again. Hi, everybody. Okay, fantastic. Hi, everybody. So, as promised, I did this last night, and apparently the session did not record or stream. So tonight we're going to try it again, and let's hope that it works this time. So tonight what I want to do is go over the release composition that I talk about a lot. There's a lot of information on it. There's a lot of different people who are doing this composition. I just wanted to show you my way. Now, in the short form, the release composition is a composition where we bring about something that is unpleasant or heavy in our mind, and we allow that to express. So what we want to do is we want to express our emotions without the use of words, because as soon as we start to use words, what happens is that our internal editor kicks in, right? I don't care whether you're speaking to somebody, if it's in therapy, if you're writing down in a journal. We write slower than what we think and how we feel. So as soon as we start verbalizing how we feel, we enter in the editor inside of our mind. And what we want to do is actually get rid of that editor, right? So when you express your emotions graphically using nothing but lines, there is nowhere for that energy to go, right? So there is no editor. There is nobody that is going to be able to interpret what you've put on paper. So in Neurographica, the instructions that we're given is bring up the topic, whatever it is that you're trying to let go of, and then write as many words about it as you can, and then release that onto paper. So for me, this actually is incomplete, because part of what a release actually is a somatic release for your body as much as it is a release for your mind and for your conscious and subconscious mind, right? So what we want to do is make sure that we are present, both with what we are thinking and how we are feeling, and also we are present with the sensations that are created in the body. And the only way we can do that is by taking our awareness there. So in class, when we had Zoom sessions, we would start these release sessions every time with a meditation, with a 10-15 minute meditation, where I would take you deep inside into the space of the heart. And from there, we connect with whatever the subject for the day was, and we would come out and we would do the process. I don't want to take you through that process because I don't want those people who may have any hesitations or resistance to meditation to get bored with the session and lose that. So instead, what I want to do is just bring our awareness enough to our body and to feel grounded enough and to feel safe enough that we allow for this process to take place. So what we're going to do is, the first thing is we're going to sit comfortably in our seat, feet planted firmly on the ground, flat on the ground. And then we're going to take a few deep breaths. And then I'm going to try to guide our awareness into ourselves as we're taking these breaths. And then I'll guide you from there. Now, while we are in this, let's call it observational state, what I want you to do is pay attention to the words that come up. Because those words that come up is what we are going to use later on in the composition itself, okay? Then what we're going to do is we're going to come out of that. I will guide you through. I will give us all a specific amount of time to write down all the word associations. I'll talk about that a little bit after we've gone through the observation period. And then we'll put everything onto paper, okay? So tonight I want to take you through some of the major steps. I will not be doing all of the steps that Neurographica usually does. I want to sort of get you familiarized with the process itself instead of being so strict on rules and things like that. And as you know, I kind of practice a modified Neurographica as it is, okay? So if we're ready, make sure you have everything you need for the session. You have your paper, your markers, everything. your coloring materials, whether you're using markers or crayons or color pencils or whatever it may be. And when you're ready, what I want you to do is find a comfortable position to sit. I'm sitting behind my desk because we're about to do some artwork. So if you're seated on a chair like me, I want you to make sure that your feet are flat on the ground and you can feel the ground underneath you. Okay? Wiggle your toes a little bit, become aware of the balls of your feet, feel your heels on the ground. Put as much weight on the balls of your feet as on your heels. Feel that connection to the ground, to Mother Earth. Okay. By the same token, I want you to sit straight on your chair. We're not going to be slumped in, right? We're going to be upright. So by the same way we wiggled our toes, I want you to find your sit bones. So move your hips from side to side until you find your hip bones. Once you've found your hip bones, we're going to sit nice and tight on top of the equal weight on both. Spine is straight. Okay. Tuck your chin a little bit to make sure your spine is straight. And then when you're ready, let's put our hands in a comfortable position on our laps. And when you're ready, release your tongue from the roof of your mouth and close your eyes. Now, wherever you are with your breath, let's exhale here. Now let's take a deep breath in. Fill yourself with as much breath as you can. And exhale and release any tension in your body into the exhale. One more time, deep breath in. And exhale, relaxing your body and your mind in the process. Now with your next inhale, I want you to send your awareness with your breath deep inside your body. And as you exhale, leave your awareness there and relax your body a little bit more. Deep breath in. See if you can send your awareness a little deeper inside your body. And as you release your breath, I want you to start bringing up the topic you're releasing today. Release your awareness on the breath. Keep your awareness deep inside your body in the darkness. And start thinking about the subject matter that you want to let go of. Whatever feelings, emotions, events you're releasing tonight, bring them up, conjure them up, let them speak. Let the thoughts come in your mind, but do not engage with them. Don't answer them. Don't argue with them. Just observe the thoughts that pop up. Images, sounds, whatever comes up, let it come up. Pay attention to the words that you hear in your mind's eye. You're breathing comfortably. You're grounded. You are safe. Let the thoughts come. Now I want you to see if you can split your attention between your mind and your body. As your mind is thinking all of these thoughts, see if you can find the sensations that go along with it in your body. Are you experiencing tightness in the chest? heaviness on the neck and shoulders, a pit in your stomach, tingling anywhere in your body. Whatever registers on the mind registers on the body. So find where it is registering and how. Let the thoughts roll in your mind and find the sensations in your body. Now what I want you to do is draw up a mental cord, an imaginary cord, connecting these thoughts and the sensations in the body wherever they are to your dominant hand. And once you've done that, I want you to feel the flow of these thoughts and sensations into that cord and into your hand. Your hand may start to feel a little bit heavy. That's completely normal. It might start to get warm. It might tingle. You'll start to have some kind of a sensation in your hand. Let your hand get heavy. Let it take all the physical burden and all the mental burden. Now, before we come out, I want you to do one last thing. I want you to think about how you would feel when this issue is resolved, when what you have released comes to a satisfactory conclusion. How would you feel in that moment? How would your body feel? What would your mind think? How would your emotions be different? What does that resolution look like? Now, holding on to the awareness inside your hand, on your dominant hand, I want you to start wiggling your toes. Then wiggle your fingers. Become aware of the heaviness of your physical body. And when you're ready, open your eyes. Okay, so I hope you were able to connect both to the emotions, the thoughts, and the sensations inside your body. So the first thing that we're going to do is the word association. Now, why is this important? This process is a process of releasing messages from the subconscious mind onto the conscious mind. What we want to do is we want to make sure that we are creating this connection between the two. Okay? When we use words, our brain lights up in multiple locations. There is a different location for where the word itself is located. The images associated with it are located in a different part of the brain. The people and emotions associated with that are located in a different part of the brain. So when we use language, when we use words, we are actually making our brain light up in multiple ways and multiple places. Okay? So this is the importance of word association. If I give you any word, let's say the word home. When I say the word home to you, that word has a lot of different associations, even though it's a single word, right? You think of the physical space that is called the home, the house. You think of your emotional state when you think about your home, the people involved in it, your duties and responsibilities towards it. So I say one word, but for you, there's a world of thoughts that can come from that one word. And that's exactly the process that we're going to follow here. We're going to put down the words that came out during our observation period, the words that have the greatest weight when it comes to what it is that you're releasing. For me, I'm releasing attachment. I'm in a situation right now where I'm going through a change and I don't do well with change. So what I'm releasing is attachment. This idea that if I lose something, then I'm unsafe. So all of the words that are going to come up for me around that are the words that I'm going to put down. It's fine if you write down full sentences. We prefer for you to have word associations, but if you end up writing an essay, by all means do it. What I'm going to do is I'm going to put 2 minutes, 22 seconds on the clock, and I want you to put down as many words, sentences, whatever it comes out. Do not edit yourself. If a word comes up multiple times, if the word home, if the word joy, if the word pain, if the word whatever comes up multiple times in your mind, please write it down multiple times. We're not editing, we're allowing for stream of consciousness to come through. Okay? So, when everybody is ready, I'm just going to get my timer. And here we go. 2 minutes, 22 seconds, as many words as come up. Okay? No editing here. And that's time. Okay. Now what we're going to do is we're going to count all the words we have. If you have repeated words, count them more than once. It doesn't matter how many times you repeated them. We're just going to count them. I have exactly 50 words. The goal is 20. Anything over 20 is gravy. Okay? So what you want to do is if you have 18 to 20 words, then you have created the association that we want in your mind. Okay? So what we want to do now is release the thoughts, the emotions, the physical sensation, everything that we stored in our hand. Okay? So what we want to do is you want to bring up that sensation that we put into the dominant hand. I want you to put your feet flat on the ground. Make sure your feet are not crossed. Take a deep breath and release all of that frustration onto paper. I'm going to use a pencil. I'm using a drafting pencil to do my first part, because I usually end up either breaking the nib of my marker or tearing through my paper. This is a pretty thick one. I don't think I'm going to tear through this one. But the point is, this is supposed to be an energetically charged release. Okay? So what you want to do is take a deep breath. You want to audibly release as well. So if you scream in the process, that's good. I'm not going to scream in all of your ears because I don't want to deafen you. I have a pretty strong mic here. But one of the best ways to do this is actually to scream as you let out the frustration and just let everything come out. So get ready, feet flat on the ground, take a deep breath in, put your hand down on your paper, and when you're ready, just release it. So the first thing that we're going to do, this paper is our pleroma. It is the field of all probabilities and possibilities. And the first thing that we did is put out what we want to release, want to express. And part of that is frustration. We have to find a healthy way and a good way for us to release our negative emotions. Pretending they are not there is not going to be the solution. So the first thing that we want to do is we want to bring peace and harmony and non-judgment to what it is that we just released. So the first step is to round this thing with itself. Okay, so what I usually do is I take my marker and I just go over everything that I drew with pencil with my marker. Right? And I round the edges in the process. Now, as you start to do this process, sometimes some of us have something called resistance to rounding. You may actually put your first expression, your release down, and the first thought in your mind is, this is too many intersections. This is going to take too long. What have I done? That's okay. That's called resistance. And that's your ego stepping in because it recognizes that something is happening that it has no control over. Once you start doing the process, your ego starts to recognize that you're not in danger, and it will step out of the way. It is not your ego's job to protect you from the things that you don't recognize yet. We have given our egos this responsibility, but it is quite ill-equipped for it. So if we can start releasing our ego and saying, I know you're here for my protection. I appreciate your concern, but I got this. This allows us to move forward. And it allows us to have access to the part of our subconscious that isn't always present. Because we block it out. We don't want to listen to that inside voice. So this process of rounding is the process by which we bring in forgiveness, we bring in peace to what it is that we are feeling. You have every right to be feeling as you're feeling. A lot of the time there's a lot of self-criticism, and this is not the time for that. This is the time for you to express what it is that you feel with no judgment, even from yourself. So forgive yourself for feeling this way, for putting yourself in that situation, for whatever it is that you're angry with yourself for. This is where we let that anger go. This is where we let that judgment go. The truth of the matter is, if you could have done differently, you would have. Now, as I'm rounding, I'm creating some loose ends and sharp edges. We're going to leave these for now. We're going to come back to them in the second round of rounding. And I'll explain how in a second. But for now, I just want you to be present and just round all the intersections that you've created. And just enjoy this process of bringing peace to your body and your mind. Okay. So, once you finish the first set of rounding, your composition is going to look something like this. Now, this is a bundle of emotions that is all wrapped inside of itself, right? It has no way for energy to come in or go out. And no matter what our problem is, no matter what our first expression is, this is something that is related to other people. It is relational. There's other people involved in creating of this, and there will be people involved in the solution of this. And we want to invite the energies of those people into our life. We want to involve their energy with our personal expression. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to take any loose ends and we're going to draw neurographic lines out of them. Then you're going to take any round edges that look like loops and we're going to dissolve them as well. And don't worry about going into your composition with these new lines. Okay? The idea here is that we want to release. We want to create enough lines that once we round, you're not even going to be able to see your original release. Okay? Once we have these, we're going to start rounding all over again. What we want to do is with the new energy that we have brought in, the energy of the new people, we want this energy to be with peace, right? You want this energy to be peaceful and you want this energy to be with as much harmony as possible. We don't want more conflict. We don't want to create more conflict. So what we're doing is we are rounding all of these edges so that in our interactions with other people, we have as much peace as possible. Okay? Again, remember, in life we can do absolutely anything we want, but we cannot do anything alone. We need other people. We need relationships in our lives. So with this process of rounding the second time and dissolving our original release and original expression, we're bringing in the energy of society. And we are harmonizing and bringing peace to our relationships within our relationships, our relationship with relationships, work-wise, personal, familial, interpersonal, friends, doesn't matter, romantic, it doesn't make a difference. We're calling in energies other than our own to help us solve our issue, to help us come to peace with whatever it is we were releasing. We are creatures that are affected by our environment greatly, but especially by our relationships. Relationships are the key to life. We are not created as a me, we are created as a we inside our mother's belly. And our first abandonment wound is the wound of birth. Is having to lose that we, and we spend the rest of our lives trying to recreate that safety of that original we in the womb. So this process of rounding allows us to invite this energy of harmonious relationships, of being able to give and receive openly and honestly with the people around us. Reception often is just as important as giving. We are very good at giving, especially for women. Most of the time we are not very good at receiving. So learning to be in harmonious reception as well is really, really important in this process of being able to alchemize those deeper, darker, heavier emotions. Being present while you do this work is really important. This is why I keep a lot of quiet time, so you can be present with your own thoughts. That's what this composition is all about, just being present. Sometimes sitting in the discomfort of the emotions we're having. And being able to conjure it all up in a safe environment. Okay? So once you have completed your second set of rounding, you see my composition is very barely visible. My very first expression is almost invisible. You can't tell where my original catharsis was, where my original release was. So the next thing that we're going to do to this composition is we're going to introduce frequency in terms of color. Now, there's been a lot of questions about how do we color and what are the rules around color and what are the ideas behind the colors and the meanings behind the colors and so on and so forth. When it comes to coloring your piece, the only thing that matters is that you like it. Color theory doesn't matter. Whether you are using actual color theory of using primary, secondary, and tertiary colors, and then complementary colors and complementary opposites and so on and so forth, or if you are using something like the chakra system to use your colors, so the 7 colors of the rainbow. It makes no, or you are using neither and going completely intuitively. All of that is fine. Okay, all of these different ways of coloring are fine. The one thing about color is that you want to make sure that you are using more than one section at a time. So we're going to color more than one section in the same color at the same time. Okay, and when I choose a section that I'm going to color in a specific color, in the process of coloring, you may also find places that still need a little bit more rounding, and that's totally okay. So when I find the section I'm going to color, I'm not going to honor the boundaries between these places, between these sections. Frequency goes through solid objects, and we want this to be the case here as well. Okay? So when I find a section that I want to color in a specific color, I'm actually not going to respect any of the boundaries between the segments or sections in that whole segment. So when we color our compositions, we want to color about 70% of the page. Okay, we want to leave about 30% of it free. And the reason that we want to do that is because if we color absolutely every square inch of this, what we're doing is we're telling the universe that we want to dictate terms. And we may not be the best people to dictate terms when it comes to our lives. So we want to leave some room for the divine to do what it wants to do as well, to introduce frequencies that we did not necessarily ask for. Ah, that looks like a little heart in there. I've become very good at drawing hearts and butterflies. So once you have enough of your page colored, you are complete with your work. The next thing I want you to do is take a look at what is on your page and see what jumps out to you. Okay. For me, what I have looks like a field of flowers with hearts nestled within hearts. I've got one heart here, one heart here, one heart here. For me, both flowers and hearts have significance. Flowers are a process of blooming. It's what we get fruit from. If you have no flowers, you will have no fruit. So even though flowers may seem like a beautiful part of life, they are temporary. They are a means to an end. And if that flower is fertilized with a bee, then you're going to have fruit. So for me, the fruit of my labor is going to come from having heart and from having courage as I go through this change. So that is the significance of what is appearing on my page for me. For you, it might be different. It will be different because it is your subconscious mind speaking to you. Okay. In Neurographica, there's a couple of other steps that they do after this. I don't always do those steps. Once I get to this point of the composition, I usually feel pretty complete. But in the next few weeks, I will show you the other steps as well, if you like. So that's it. Thank you for joining me on this Friday right before the holiday season. Sorry for the complications, but we finally got this session done. I hope it answers some of your questions about what the release process actually is. If you have any questions, leave them for me in the comments, email me, join the WhatsApp group and ask your questions there. I'm always there for you. Otherwise, I will see you again next Thursday, 5 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, hopefully without technical issues. Thank you, everybody. Thank you for joining me. Happy holidays, and I will see you all again. If you have signed up for the manifestation wheel for the vision board tomorrow, I will see you tomorrow at noon Eastern Standard Time. If you haven't signed up, there's still time for you to do that. So if I see you tomorrow for the 2024 vision wheel, then or the vision board, great, I will see you then. Otherwise, happy holidays, Merry Christmas to those of you who celebrate, and may we all see peace and love amongst all people everywhere in the world. And I will see you guys next Thursday for the next release composition next week. Have a good evening, everybody.